This time on TYGR's Garage, we got ourselves a project. Today is the day that we start rust repair. Stink bug here, very well ventilated floor. We're aiming to fix some of that. UPS is on the way with some floor pans. Before they get here, I'd like to have the seats, battery, all the stuff kind of out of the interior so we can look and see how bad it really is, and then make a couple decisions and go from there. I think step one is to just kind of see what we're working with here. We know it's bad. We don't exactly know how bad. So in order to do that, we got to make some space. So plan is get this sweet seat cover off. Save it, obviously. Then I want to get the seat out, the seat bracket out, all that stuff, and just kind of have a look at the floor and see what we got going on. Now, I didn't buy a complete floor pan. Floor pan. That's it. But I did buy the front section because I can see that that's bad. I think I bought some inner cowl pieces. I don't really know what it looks like under here. I don't expect it to be a whole bunch better, but I didn't want to buy a full pan, and I'll show you why when we get the seat out. So, name of the game right now is just making a little bit of room. We also, when we get this out, we may end up bracing the cab a little bit somehow, and then taking the doors all the way off. Never done this before. I know that's the right way to do it. We'll see when we get there. And then I think I didn't ever bolt this back down. Yeah, so it'll come out. Another thing we're gonna do is take the gas tank out because it don't work and we don't need it. So it's kind of a while you're in there. Whoops. Yeah, that just lifts out. I think we're coming your way with this one. Okay. Oh, I don't exactly know how this works. Anyways, I want to keep the seat frame because I think we may reuse it. This part down here is what they call the seat riser, and we're not gonna reuse that because my plan long term is we're gonna delete the tank behind the seat. I'd like to keep the stock seat, but I want to move it all back into this space because I got real long legs and it's tight in here. And the more legroom I can get, the better. Now, it's already kind of tight up here, so we may end up using a different seat. We could get like a split bench out of like a GMT 800 or something, or whatever. I mean, people have done it, but I want to try to get this frame out without cutting it. And I feel one bolt here, but there's got to be another one somewhere, I would think. I just can't really tell where. Are there bolts back here? There's nuts back there. What is this? What is this now? A piece of trim? Oh, I think that's a headliner bow. Huh. Interesting. All right, we'll put it in the back. There's a bolt here, and it looks like there's two right here on either side that maybe I could get a wrench on. And then we get the tank out. Ooh. And see how much of a nightmare we really have. I think a big one is my honest opinion. I thought under here was good. I think I was wrong. Like I said, I've never done this before. I'm just hoping when we're done the doors close. But to be honest, they don't really close right now, so we won't make it worse. These bolts are really buried back here. I think it would help if could slide the seat forward, but mine doesn't do that anymore, so. Okay. Those ones are out. I'm coming your way. That one did. That one actually broke off. Which is fine. This is a job for power tools. Where are you? Oh, things happened. Cool. Other side. Okay, hold on. What is that thing? If you haven't noticed, we don't care too much about how it was originally because it's all going to change. Oh, there's a good one. Ugh. That's how you break those, by the way. It's the next day. We got the seat frame out, obviously, and we are just going to keep on trying to get to somewhat of a flat floor, which means I'm going to have to cut this frame out. Gas tank straps need to go. But what we're going to do right now is worry about pedals. So we got clutch, brake, gas, starter, and emergency brake. This one's frozen, but I want to get these out because I've got a piece. The pieces showed up too. I'll show you here in a minute. But I've got a right and a left-hand piece. Sorry, it's very windy. If you hear some whooshing in the background. I can't close the door because then I can't walk back and forth. But anyways, want to get the pedals out. Probably undo our brake light switch. Maybe this high beam switch. Just kind of gets everything we need to reuse out of the way. Tuck some of this stuff up. Get ourselves as flat of a floor as we can, and then we can worry about where we're going to start as far as cutting and replacing. I know we'll start cutting here because I want to get this out, but leave the underside. So for now, from the front side of the hood, I think I can disconnect these two pretty easy, and then we'll work on the others. I think the gas pedal may come out right here, and then I don't have any idea how this is connected. We'll figure it out. This one's not going to anything. We may cut it out. We'll see. This right here is the clutch pedal linkage. I have it depressed in the cab. So I'm going to try to get that apart, and then we'll move over one. That's the brake. And then we'll just kind of keep moving until we get to the ones that I don't know how they work, which is the gas and starter button. I got a wrench jammed in there. I'm going to come at it from underneath because access is limited. It's coming. The rust is falling in my mouth. Okay, here's that bolt. Fine thread again. But now I should be able to pull the clutch pedal out of this thing like all the way. Here's the clutch pedal. Look at the weird shape to it. Like it sits like this, but then this bar has a bend. I'm gonna put this bolt through this hole so we don't lose it. All right, next one is the brake pedal, which we have had off before. So I would like to think it will come off again without too much heartache, but you never know. Oh God, that wasn't even that tight. Grab that one. Here it is. Moving on down the line. This here is the throttle. I think that one disconnects from inside the cab. The throttle pedal looks like it's just a couple of cotter pins on some shafts. We might be beating the shafts out of this one. I got the top shaft out, but this bottom one is unhappy. I don't think it's supposed to make that noise. It's on the run. I wonder if I could grab it from the other side with a pair of vice grips now. Oh, there you go. That's like a screen door hinge, basically. No bushing, no nothing. Just some curled sheet metal and a pin. That's how they did it back then. Drive-by shaft, not even drive-by cable. That's solid. The next thing is the little foot starter. Button, pedal, whatever you want to call it. I have no idea how this is attached. Let me look in the shop manual quick and see if I'm on the right path. If I am, I might come in here and zip this out because this is part of the new panel that we have. That way I could get a little better grip on it. I'm pretty sure I'm right about how this comes apart, but ours is frozen. So we're gonna go ahead and make a little extra room in here. See how she spins like that? I don't think it's threaded, unless it is. And it's just gummed up. Oh, it is. Oh yeah, those threads are almost not there. We're gonna have to work on that when we put it back in. But we got a clear floor. Okay, the next thing I want to do is gonna be kind of gross. But I want to rip down some of this old like rubberized insulation. I want to try to get this blower housing off the firewall, because we're going to be up in this region and we're just trying to make space right now. I just looked over and realized that we still have to worry about the parking brake as well, but we'll do that later. For now, I want to see if we can't get some of this out of the way. Show us how bad our rust is on the firewall. Okay, so what I'm seeing is two studs. There's one right here under the horn that's hard to see, and there's one that's going to be really tough to get to. I think those are what hold that heater box on. They're super long. Start with the easy one. You may have to take some horns apart. Oh, it's coming. I got both those studs out up front. So this thing should come apart, and I don't think much is holding it, so I'm going to give it a yank and we'll see if that was it. Here's to the net. There's a genuine General Motors 6-volt blower heater core unit. I don't really know what they're called, but it's basically the blower motor and the heater core in one unit. You can see in the back here it's in pretty rough shape. It was leaking. Don't forget, that's why this floorboard is so bad down here, because this thing was leaking for a long time and it would just dribble down. So right here, this area is our biggest problem. I want to start cutting it out so bad, but I really think, just like anything, the devil's in the details, and we need to do as much prep as we can, because where this lower hinge mounts here is somewhat solid, but all of this is so flexy that it's letting the door hang weird, and that's why this door doesn't close that good. So we're probably going to start on this side, but we're not quite there yet. We need to go back to the driver's side, and we need to address that emergency brake pedal, the headlight high beam switch, and our brake switch, because those all bolt to this kick panel that we are going to be replacing. I think what we're going to do first is worry about these switches. This one here, remember, is our brake light switch that we spent so much time dealing with. And then this one here is the headlight switch. I think we could probably push it through. I don't think there's nuts on the back side of this. But I'm going to take this here first and get this kind of assembly out of the way, and then we'll see what to do about this pedal. But it's right near this body mount that we're going to be messing with, and it can't be here anymore. This pedal here. I tried to take these bolts off from the back and they broke because they're rusted, but I think they might have broke off in such a way that I can pry this out. Like that. Wow, it's bad right there. Here's the deal. If those broke, this is gonna break. I don't think I can get it. No, we can't get it through. So excuse me, we need to cut that, which is huge rod, but we need to. They were not messing around. By the way, this is one of those super wicked awesome diamond impregnated guaranteed for life cutoff wheels. Little consumer advice for you. It is neither super wicked or awesome. The only thing it's really good at is when you're cutting in a weird spot, like it can't shatter. I'm a little bit afraid of cutoff wheels. I've never had one shatter, but I don't want to be there when it does. So I bought this thing. They're like $200. They're guaranteed for life. You break it, wear it out, send it back to them, they'll send you a new one. Sounds awesome. Never buy another cut-off wheel. Which that's probably true. This is still my first one. I've used it to cut a bunch of stuff. But they cut so incredibly slow, it makes you want to risk it. Like for some of the thin stuff, we maybe use this, and maybe I have it on the wrong grinder. Maybe a corded one is better. What I'm trying to say is save your $200. Go to Benchmark or somewhere, 3M, buy just a high quality abrasive disc. Those won't blow up on you, but they're not worth it, I don't think. They're also heavy, so if it does bind, it's not going to shatter, but it's going to rip your wrist apart. Or the grinder out of your hand, which is not great either. Next thing we got to worry about is the e-brake pedal. I just crawled underneath. It's connected to a bracket that's like welded to the frame. There's a shaft, and this pedal is welded to that shaft. It doesn't look like it's coming out. Everything's terribly rusty under there. We got a 4-speed, which is a built-in parking brake. So it's going to be the same song and dance. We're going to zip this off. We'll maybe take the rest out when we have this section of floor out. Now you can see why we're replacing the floor, because this is the big washer. It's supposed to hold. This is the cab mount bolt. It's attached to nothing. This cab is, the back is fine, but hopes and dreams are holding the front on. Going hot. Man, if you had an emergency and needed to jam on this brake pedal, you weren't going to bend it, I can assure you. That's like quarter plate or better. Most of the disassembly's done in the front, like kick panel area. You can see how bad that cowl kick panel is. I have one of those too. But what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna clean up my tools here, and then I think we're gonna come around and we're gonna cut this seat riser out. That way we can get like a flat surface, and we can start making a plan. We gotta get the gas tank straps out. So we're still in the disassembly. Oh, I'm gonna tear that out first. I don't want to make sparks with that stuff in there. We're nearing the end of the disassembly phase, and we are at the end of the unbolt phase. We are deep in the cut it apart portion of the show. Here's my plan. Instead of drilling these spot welds out, which is the traditionally appropriate way to do it, we know that this riser is junk and we're not going to use it. So I'm going to use the cutoff wheel and come in. I'm not going to go this way because I don't want to cut through the floor. So I'm just going to take this kind of at the flange and separate it from this piece best I can. Over there is going to be a little tricky because there's holes, but like this side isn't so bad, and we only want to replace what we have to replace. So I'm going to come in this way, get the big chunks off, and then we can probably pop most of these spot welds or just grind them down or whatever. That is so slow, I might have a better idea. Okay. We got someone. I'm going to leave this rib for now. Probably try to take the gas tank supports out, but this is good support. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try to get this lip off now that we got the main structure kind of out of the way. So I'm going to take my little air sander and I'm going to come along here and just clean this up. That should show us where the spot welds are. I'm going to try to pop most of them by hand. I don't think it'll be that hard. And then the ones that we can't get to pop, we'll just do a quick drill and we'll get this sharp rib out, because I think our new panel comes back to about here. More of that one out. Oh, look at the smoky, dusty, rusty dust. Gross. I'm sure it's great to breathe too. So the plan is just to go around like that, pop all the spot welds, and then we'll maybe run a vacuum through it. I don't know. We got most of the seat riser out. Okay, throw away some of the scrap. Next thing we're gonna do is probably just touch some of these sharp edges with a flap disc to keep ourselves from bleeding too bad. And then it's gas tank straps. Can't really tell where or how they're attached, but we'll figure it out together. So I think I've changed my mind once again. I am gonna take this out, and here's why. A, it is not a bad brace, but it's not bracing anything that the whole back of the cab isn't either. B, the gas tank straps are spot welded to this. We're gonna do something different with the seat anyway. This has to come out eventually. May as well take it out now. That way we have a nice, clean, flat kind of starting point. At the edges here, I probably am going to leave a little bit just for now because this like follows this contour and I don't exactly know what I want to do with that. I can kind of just use the guard and trace across. All right, I'm gonna finish that cut with the Sawzall, do the same over there, and this big piece should come out. Come on now, buddy. Okay, over here. Oh God. Oh, I see. I see you. Okay, I think a little brute force is all this is going to take. There we go. So now we're going to end up doing kind of the same thing. We need to get this flange out, but I want to leave a little bit, and I'll show you why. See these two bolts here? Those are the attachment for the rear cab mounts. There's another set on the other side. It looks like there's a doubler, and it kind of comes over this flange. So I think we're going to leave that alone and probably start removing this flange like here. It is really gross and dusty in here, so I'm going to grab the air wand and try to blow some of this out. And it might be a mistake, but whoa. Probably want to put change furnace filter on the old to-do list too after all this because it draws its air from out here. I'm going to do the same thing with my little sanding wheel. Try to get the spot welds to reveal themselves, and then we'll come through. We'll try to pry what we can and drill what we can't. Same old story now. Drill, beat, pry, repeat. I don't know how these attach, but I think what I'm going to do is just kind of tap on them a bit. Let's see where it starts to separate, where it doesn't, and kind of go from there. Now the floor back here isn't in that bad a shape, so it's probably going to take a little bit of doing to get it to pop. Here's the deal. I'm tired of this, and I'm done asking. That was a lot faster. I don't want to get too aggressive and go through the back of the cab. Got it. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. It should go a little faster with our new friend here. Boom! I wish I did that about an hour ago. Air hammer makes things a lot easier. We've got a nice flat surface now that we can start adding to, but that is going to do it for this episode of Tiger's Garage. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned because we obviously have more work to do. This is part one of what will be multiple parts of putting floors in Stinkbug, the 1950 Chevy. You will see everything on a future episode.